Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I have been fantasizing about this moment for a very, very long time. I can't believe it's actually happening. This is very surreal. This is the kind of thing that I've been like rehearsing in my head when I'm in the shower. This is what I'm thinking about. And it's finally time to share it with you. So, wow. Okay. Where do we even begin? Welcome to Inklings. Woo! That feels so weird to be saying out loud. Inklings is my new project. Inklings is my book club, but it is also so much more. So allow me to go back to the start and introduce myself. My name is Jack Edwards. I've been making content about books online for 5 years now, but actually the origins of my sort of social media output goes back to when I was like 15 years old, 11 years ago, when I wrote to my local newspaper being like, I've written a book review. Would you want to publish it? They said no. I was like, what do you mean? This should be on the front page. This is headline news. They said, no, it's actually not. So anyways, I go to university. I make YouTube content about studying. And then when I graduate, I come back to literature. You know, I just finished my literature degree. I was falling back in love with reading for fun and took you guys along with me on that journey. I was doing a lockdown with no Wi-Fi, and so I would take my laptop and sit outside a coffee shop that were doing takeaway coffees, and I would like perch around the corner and hope that no one could see me, and I would download job applications from LinkedIn, and I would upload YouTube content about books, and luckily it resonated with you, and we have built this gorgeous community that I love so much, and I've always dreamed of having some sort of formal book club where each month I assign a book that we all read together and then we share our thoughts as we go. And hopefully I would get to interview the author and share some insights. And that didn't feel possible for such a long time. But what the hell? It's possible. It's possible now. It's happening. This is Inklings. So, let's talk about it. Inklings. Let's start with the name. There's a lot of thoughts going on in my head right now. I'm very overwhelmed. I'm very excited. I can't wipe the smile off my face. The name Inklings came from sort of an allusion to ink, art, physical media created by humans in a world where AI is taking over. I feel like we need an antidote to that. We want to celebrate ink on a page, art by human beings. And so also, of course, Inklings are thoughts. They're areas for discussion. They open or contribute to discourse. An inkling that you have is kind of like the seed of an idea that you plant and you care for, you nourish, you water, and it turns into something beautiful. It comes to fruition. So I liked that idea of it kind of being a thought, a discussion piece, but also the beginning of one, that kind of first thread in something that becomes a tapestry. And then the word Inklings actually has a literary heritage too, because there was actually this group of authors like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien who would come together to discuss books, and they called themselves the Inklings. I actually discovered this after I had already come up with the name Inklings, so it just felt like the perfect marriage of ideas and the perfect name for this book club. And so as soon as I came up with it, I was just wedded to the idea and I love it. So I consider myself an Inkling now. I hope that you consider yourself an Inkling too. And here's the thing, book clubs have existed since, the first semblance of a book club that we know of was 1634, when the wives of sailors would come together to discuss Bible verses, right? And they would spend their days reading these books and this text that was like blowing their minds and was expanding their worldview and is explaining the world that they inhabited. Of course they wanted to come together and discuss them. And that's sort of how I see this YouTube channel too. Reading is something that we generally associate with being an activity we do in isolation. It's something that, you might think of someone sitting in bed by themselves reading in the last 30 minutes before they close their eyes. Maybe you're in a busy environment or you're on public transport or something and you pull out a book as a way to connect with yourself and be in your own head and in your own mind and to escape. And so I like that reading is something that we typically associate with doing in isolation, but actually we crave community too. We crave being able to discuss the ideas that we are experiencing and that we're coming across and that we're encountering. And I think there's an innate desire to come together and pool our knowledge and pool our ideas and share. And so book clubs have always existed, and this is like the new iteration. I love that we're continuing that legacy of, you know, those initial book clubs of Sailors' Wives, the Inklings coming together to discuss, and now we are Inklings too. And it just feels so special to get to be part of that. So, shall I tell you about the first book? Should I tell you what is the first Inklings book club pick? Well, my friends, it is Evenings and Weekends by Oisin McKenna. You know how much I ride for this book. It was one of my favorite books that I read last year. I have gone so far as to speak about this on television. I did a TV show called Between the Covers where people recommend books, and I spoke about Evenings and Weekends. I have not been able to keep this book out of my mouth or out of my mind since I first encountered it. It is a love story to London. It's set during a heat wave in the city, and there is this brilliant ensemble of characters. I think that the heat wave makes all of those characters feel a little bit like on top of each other and claustrophobic, and it means that people maybe share things they wouldn't normally say, and there's a sort of landmark feeling about this extreme weather event. You know, it's something that you know will become a memory. So it's like, what's going to happen in this time? And so much does. You have a mother who needs to tell her son that she has cancer. You have a couple who are expecting a baby, but they're not sure if they're ready to settle down and subscribe to a heteronormative lifestyle. There are open relationships and communal living, and there's a wedding, and it just so many characters. There's a toad, there's a whale stuck in the Thames, and the reporter who is sharing the story of the whale that is stuck in the Thames looks a lot like Princess Diana. And so everyone refers to her as the Princess of Wales. It's just brilliant. It's so multifaceted, so multi-layered. I adore this book. And so it felt like the obvious first choice in my book club. And I've been very lucky to get to interview Oisin McKenna. I have pre-recorded that interview just because I wanted to be ready to launch this. So I got to meet Oisin McKenna. I interviewed him about this book. So that will be coming out at the end of this month. So this book will be our choice from the middle of July to the middle of August, so you have time to read it. So how can you get involved? Well, there is an Instagram account at Inklings ___ Inklings ____, right? So listen, trying to find a unique username in 2025 is not for the weak. It is no easy task, but we've managed to get a username, okay? There's 3 underscores either side of the word Inklings. And also, we will be on Fable. So Fable is my book club hub of choice. I tried out loads of different things, but Fable was the one I personally enjoyed the most. And then I did a live stream where I asked a bunch of you in this community, where would you like this book club to take place? And it was unanimous. Like, it was a sea of people saying the word Fable. You know, every single person was like, Fable, 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 Fable. And so that's what we're doing. So the link will be down below. What I love about Fable is that the chat rooms are divided by chapter. So if you're on chapter 4, you can discuss with all the people also on chapter 4. If you're on chapter 24, you can discuss with the people also on chapter 24. So it's not a case of have you read the book or not. You can discuss as you go. And I think that's really powerful. I'll be sharing my favorite quotes and my thoughts in those chat rooms as well. So we'll be able to all kind of discuss together. But I really encourage you guys, start conversations, respond to each other. You know, if this is a community thing, I want this to be something that we're all involved in. And I'm very excited about it. Another thing I wanted to say is that I am committed to keeping Inklings free. I don't want this to be behind a paywall. I don't want this to be something that you have to pay to play, you have to pay to access. No, not at all. Inklings will be free. You know, the Fable book club will be free. The Instagram account will be publicly available. All of the Inklings content will be free. The book club sessions that I will have with authors, where I will interview the authors, will be recorded as podcast episodes, which will also have video, and those will be available anywhere you get your podcasts. I will leave a link down below to the Inklings podcast. So this is what I mean when I say Inklings is kind of an umbrella term for lots of different things. I'll get onto my other goals for Inklings in a little bit, but all of the book club content will be free. That's my commitment to you. That's my promise. So with that in mind, how can you support Inklings? Well, if you want to buy this book, if you want to buy Evenings and Weekends, by the way, this is the US edition and this is the UK edition. If you'd like to buy this book, then you can head to bookshop.org. I will leave the link down below. I have an affiliate page, which is the Inklings Book Club Book Picks hub, where you can buy the books that I have chosen as the monthly book club pick. Bookshop.org benefits independent bookshops, so it's not Amazon, it benefits local independent bookshops, and then if you use my link, I would get a small commission from your purchase. So no extra cost to you, no additional costs, just I get a little commission, and it supports independent bookstores. So the book is the same price as you would normally pay, but you get to support an independent bookshop and you get to support Inklings. So just a perfect little combination of things. So the link will be down below to the Inklings bookshop. A lot of you have mentioned that you would love merchandise. I never wanted to put my own name on kind of merchandise, but I will create some Inklings stuff for you, some Inklings paraphernalia. That's for the future, so just look out for that. Make sure you're following on Instagram and you'll be the first to know when that is coming out. And then also I am making a Substack account. Now my Substack is going to be separate. My Substack is Jack, whereas Inklings is this kind of book club thing. On Substack, I'm going to be posting my book reviews. And if you would like to support that, I will leave the link down below. There's going to be lots of links in the description. But if you would like to support those book reviews, you can. And that will help me to fund this project and keep Inklings free. And my book reviews will be over there, all of my in-depth book reviews. Now, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be sharing my book reviews here on YouTube and on TikTok. But the nature of the beast when you're creating online content is, firstly, you have to want to be on camera that day and know that this thing is going to be on the internet forever. And that's, you know, a friction point, a barrier of entry. That means that I don't feel I'm wanting to be on camera every single day. So there will be more content over on the Substack. By the way, the Substack is going to be called Constant Reader in honor of one of my favorite book critics, Dorothy Parker, who used to have a column called Constant Reader for The New Yorker in the 1920s. I just think she's amazing. So I wanted to pay homage to her by calling the column Constant Reader over on my Substack. On YouTube, the reality is that for the pacing of a video and for entertainment purposes, I abridge my reviews a little bit. I just talk about the most interesting things, and of course I'm verbalizing them. I miss writing. I miss being able to write down my reviews. I miss speaking to you through the medium of writing. And so I'm really buzzing to make my Substack account and to be sharing my book reviews there. I'll just be sharing book reviews as and when I read a book, which, as you know, I read, maybe like 150 books a year. So you can expect a lot of posts over there. But basically, I can just be more thorough. I can share more in-depth reviews over there. So that will be what's happening over on my Substack. And maybe I'll add some of my video essays as actual essays as well, if you would like. Let me know if that's something you would like. Maybe I could do some reading lists and stuff over there as well. But at the very minimum, it will be my in-depth, thorough book reviews, and then I will also make sure that once a month I share an overview of all of the books I read that month, which will not be behind a paywall, so that you can still access those as well if you would like. So that's Substack. That's a slightly separate thing, but that will have a membership fee, but that membership fee will help to keep Inklings free. So Inklings will always be free. One other thing I would love to be able to do, and I have lots of literary projects I would love to dip my feet into, but I needed this kind of like centralized thing, Inklings, to make those things possible. So I would love to have my own book festival one day. I would love to have my own book shop. I would love to have my own book imprint where I can champion authors who don't often get access to the literary world. I would love to have my own book prize where we can celebrate debut writers and fund them on their writing journey. I have lots of ambitions of how I would like to contribute to the literary landscape and the literary space. And I'm hoping that Inklings is going to be this kind of centralized thing to help make that happen. I really want to put on events, community events, literary salons, poetry readings, in-person book clubs. Like, I want to be able to do all of those things, and basically by supporting Inklings, by following on Instagram, by getting involved, that's something we can hopefully make happen. Join us on Fable, The other thing too is events. So I do have some live events, which I'm very thrilled to share with you. So I'm bringing Inklings to the Chelsea Arts Festival in September. That will be in London. And the Gothenburg Book Festival, which will be in Sweden. Now, we'll also be at Cheltenham in October, which is also in the UK. If you would like me to bring Inklings to your city, to your town, to your country, please get in contact with your local book festivals. It's very difficult for me to create an event in a country or a city that I'm not from and I don't live in, because I have to make sure things are safe. I have to make sure things are practical and will flow seamlessly. And the other thing too is book festivals have budget, so they can bring authors to us. They can bring in incredible, authors from all around the world. And so if you would like us to create Inklings events in your area, please get in contact with your local book festivals. Let them know what we're doing, what Inklings is, and that you would like an event, because those are the people who can make these things happen. And then I can execute it, but they basically facilitate those things happening. I want to make it clear, Inklings will have no book snobbery. There will be no intellectual snobbery. You are encouraged to share your thoughts, to give every book the dignity of criticism, to be honest, to be open. I just ask you come in with an open mind, with an open heart. This isn't going to be some exclusive like it girl literary thing where you have to be a supermodel to get involved. I think you all look like supermodels. I think you're all beautiful. Whenever I meet you guys in person, I'm like, oh my God, the coolest people are in this community. And I just want to be your best friends. So I think you're the coolest, but you don't have to be some like Instagram baddie in order to contribute to this book club. We are anti-gatekeeping, and I think that's sometimes the issue with book clubs that I see online, is that they feel so insular and that they don't feel welcoming. This is a space for you. This is a space for everyone. Other things I would love to do, I'm hoping to use the Instagram account to share publishing news, to stop gatekeeping that. So much of the publishing industry is inaccessible. I want to share new releases. I want to share bestsellers. I want to share insight into the industry from the industry, so that will all be over on Instagram. I would love to find a designer or like an illustrator to help me kind of bring that to life and make it look visually pleasing. So that's something I'm looking for. Oh my God, also over on the Instagram, I'm going to be giving away 3 signed copies of Evenings and Weekends, signed by Oisin McKenna. And maybe I'll write you a little note too, but I want 3 of you to get to win these 3 copies of the book that I have that I got Oisin McKenna to sign. So head over to the Instagram account at ___Inklings ____, and you will be able to find that post with a chance to win. It'll also be over on my personal Instagram, which is at Jack Ben Edwards. And is there anything else I need to tell you? One of the things that I am really committed to also is making sure that every book that we choose for the book club will be available in paperback. I think it just removes another one of those barriers to entry. It just makes things a little bit cheaper, because it's more likely that libraries will have them in stock, that you might be able to find the books at thrift stores or charity shops or secondhand. Naturally, a paperback book is cheaper than a hardback, so I'm committed to making sure that every book we choose for the book club is available in paperback. I'll be sharing upcoming books as well for the book club over on my Instagram and the Inklings Instagram account, just so that if you need to request from your local library, you can in advance, because I know that often they have like long waiting lists. On Fable, you can actually read a sample of the ebook, which I think is such a great feature. So if you head over to the Fable Inklings book club, you will be able to read the opening chapter, I believe, of Evenings and Weekends, so you can get a taste of the writing style, whether this is something that you would like to read this month, read alongside me, read alongside the community. Fable also acts as a kind of Goodreads alternative, which I really like. So yeah, like I said, I'll be sharing a lot of my book reviews over there, the concise book reviews, and then the more thorough, like in-depth kind of essays, like 1,000-word, 2,000-word essays about the books will be over on my Substack. I've already done some interviews, which will also be going up on the Inklings podcast account. So basically, the Inklings podcast, sorry, I know that I'm kind of like jumping around a little bit. I've been containing all of this inside my tiny little brain for so long, and it's finally being unleashed kind of all at once. But the Inklings podcast will have the monthly book club pick. So this month it will be an interview with Oisin McKenna about Evenings and Weekends, but then also on the other weeks I will have interviews with other authors about their books. So they won't be like book club picks. I won't be doing a concentrated kind of reading effort about those books, but I will be interviewing authors about other books. So for example, I've done interviews with Caroline O'Donoghue, Ferdia Lennon, David Nichols, Amor Tolls, Coco Mellors, Susie Dent, loads of incredible writers, Julia Armfield, loads of incredible people. I actually interviewed them for a podcast I was planning before, but it didn't feel quite right, and I only wanted to give you something that felt right. And so the The new iteration of this will be the Inklings podcast, which will be coming out as regularly as I can, as regularly as I can do interviews. But yeah, the book club will be once a month. Wow, so many different things. So yeah, Inklings is going to be kind of this like umbrella, the umbrella name for this project. The book club is sort of the primary focus, and that's sort of where everything else stems from. But it just feels so surreal to be saying this out loud. And one thing I want to say is that I'm always going to champion independent bookstores and libraries. If we host a live event in a city or in a place, I will make sure that we bring in independent local bookshops to support that event and partner with that event. Obviously, our online bookshop.org will benefit independent bookshops. All live events will be recorded as podcast episodes because I hate the idea that you could only access those things if you can be in the room. Like, no, I want these events to be accessible and open to everyone. So yes, they may happen in a room with 200 people, but we will then put them onto the podcast account and everyone will be able to access them wherever you are in the world for free. So that's really important to me. And I guess my other promise to you is that all of the books that we choose to champion will be thought-provoking, they'll be galvanizing, they'll be fascinating, they'll challenge our ideas, they'll help us to consider new ones, they'll help us to contemplate what it is to be human, what it is to exist, what it is to be. The recommendations will be diverse, they'll be from around the world, and yeah, this is Inklings. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. The Inklings book club is here. I finally have a book club. Oh my goodness. So welcome. Thank you for being an Inklings founding member. Thank you for being here. Yeah, best things you can do now is grab yourself a copy of Evenings and Weekends. Follow us on Instagram. I say us, it's really just me. I hope that I can maybe build this out as a team, but for right now, it is just me. You can follow on Instagram at ___Inklings ____, and on Fable, where we are Inklings Book Club, and I will leave the link down below. Well, I guess it's not just me anymore. It's us. It's all of us. This is the community. It's been something that I've been talking about and thinking about for such a long time, and now I'm ready to welcome you in, and that is very liberating. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making this possible. My Substack link will also be linked down below where you can find all of my book reviews as well. And welcome to the Inklings Book Club. Love ya.